and most of the cases actually indirect observation. I mean, we have preceptors. I went to surgery, St. Paul's. I actually didn't see the preceptor not even once. Like, I don't even remember his face. I didn't even recognize him, but apparently he ended up giving me an evaluation based on what he had heard from other residents, which was a good evaluation anyway, but it was just not right. Like, I mean, you never saw me. And so direct and mostly actually indirect observations, and usually not discussed. Usually not, you're not given an opportunity to tell, this is how I reasoned and I thought, this is what I did. And it just goes on. And then basically 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or 1 month after you block, you receive an evaluation form and you read on it. Okay, so in this competency, you're okay, you this, and you've been this, you've been expert, you've been professional, and you're good. Bye. So this is how it works basically. However, there are some preceptors that they discuss it with you at the end of the day. That also happens. Some direct observation that also happens, but that's like sort of minority. Most of them, they say you leave, you go away, and then you go into another block, and then after a few weeks you receive some evaluation forms. Out of what they think, like they saw of you, or they have talked about you from people who have seen you. But then again, all these examples, it's very scattered around, and you never know what exactly makes their mind, like how they exactly make their mind regarding you, and how they exactly end up evaluating you.
So I'll ask the question, but I'm getting some impression of the answer. Were these methods explained to you, like these assessment methods explained to you, either at the start of the program or the start of your rotations, or even as they were happening?
The term, yes, they tell us, like, not the preceptors, but usually when we started the program, they told us Triple C curriculum, and these are the competencies that you need to gain. But these are very broad terms. I mean, so they go out and say you have to be a collaborator. You don't know what collaborator is, or you have to be a scholar, for example. You don't know what it is, go up on CCFB and try to find out what it exactly means. Sure, and then you go ahead and you see, okay, so a scholar means someone who goes to learn, make sure that he fact checks everything and then knows his limitations. But these are very broad terms. So, but I think if we've been clearly told these are what the competencies that we should get, we've been told, and we've been given semi-actually clear definition of these competencies and what exactly they mean.
Yeah, sorry, I was referring to the assessment methods. So, in understanding,
no. We have we have no idea what they mean by professionalism. I mean preceptor. So I have no idea and no way to know that a preceptor in internal medicine thinks this is unprofessional. Like, I know CMA codes of ethics, and I know how. I've been told by the program that this is how professionalism should go. But I feel like the preceptors don't know, and I have no way of knowing what they call professional or unprofessional, or what they call scholar or not scholar. But if you ask me, do I know what scholar means? I go to the CCFP website and for all these competencies, and there's this actually relatively clear description of what these are. But a preceptor can go ahead and call everything what they want to do these. Like, just paint these with any brush they can. It's up to them. It's on them. They decide. They decide.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the methods that you are assessed by, so your assessment methods, are adequate and appropriate?
Not at all. I think that's like the weakest assessment that could be done for any resident. I am sure there's some residents in these programs that are not really qualified to get a pass on a lot of stuff. I mean, we work with our co-residents. We know how they are. We know each other, but and there are people who they don't get a pass on some stuff, but we know that they're qualified. So no, I don't think these are these are not adequate rules of assessments, because it's very subjective, very personal. It's very person dependent. Preceptors do it like within a few minutes. They're so busy, and I've seen how they filled out these actually evaluation forms. I go to my preceptor's office in family, so we have to go to family, like a family physician who's our preceptor once half day, once a week, and we are like friends, and so he tells me like that I usually spend like maybe a few minutes on these. I don't have all day to go around. And in my mind, that's really a failure of the system, because this is how I'm going to be seen in my practice. 5 minutes is really not enough, and these generic wording really not doesn't like convey the point. So I think that's what happens with most of the preceptors. They don't take their time. They're busy, and they just have to get it over with, so they don't do a good job, and they actually base themselves on anecdotal observations, like very here and there, and they end up hearing very like generic words. So no, not at all. These are not adequate assessments. I mean, they when they say that you're good, you don't know you're good. Well, even when they say that this person was very professional, you know that these are like just generic wording, and I'm not really happy with them either. Because I know that they don't mean it. They're just saying it.
In terms of your program's implementation of the CPME model, is there anything you wish had been done differently? I know you talked a little bit about faculty development and looking at remuneration models for faculty, but is there anything else that you wish your program had done differently in terms of implementation?
So the family practice program, you mean?
Yeah.
I think this, I don't know how this is being implemented in other programs, so I can't quite tell if they're doing a better job or not. Maybe they are. Actually, maybe this is not how it's to be done. But our program could have done a much better job when it comes to choosing and, again, instructing and training preceptors on this and just orienting them to this. So I think they could have done a much better job. What I'm seeing right now is like a few minutes of these evaluation forms that we don't look at. They don't care about it. We just go. It's basically the same thing as time-based. We've all switched back to the time-based training, except for that we just have to convince and satisfy a few more people in here. And by satisfy, I mean not professionally or medically or with knowledge and experience or clinical experience. No, just getting them to like us. Like this is how it's now. So no, they could do a much better job in orienting and improving these preceptors' understanding of CCC competence. If they believe in they themselves believe in this, they will make preceptors believe in this. But it seems like nobody believes in this right now, at least preceptors.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. And what recommendations would you have for residents entering programs that are about to go under transition or have fully done so?
Recommendations that I could
recommendations.
have.
So for residents who are entering programs that they, for example, are about to become CBME programs or have already become CBME programs.
Choose very carefully. I would say, so I would want the best for them. So this is what I would tell them. I would want them to choose be very selective and carefully choose their preceptors. Because if they end up with not a good one, they'll suffer for the whole 2-3 years of residency. This is both for the academic ones. This is both for the mandatory preceptor office that we do, as well as the electives. So just be very careful of who you end up being with, who you end up being assigned to, And if you think that you guys are not the right fit, you and your preceptor, just change it right at the beginning.